met her in the fall. He took her to a movie, and when they done it all.
Hello and welcome to the Fabulous Picture Show. I'm Amanda Palmer. This week at the Everyman Cinema, we're showing Black Gold, a documentary that's shaking up the coffee industry. Its filmmaking brothers Nick and Mark Francis are here. We'll get to find out if they put our audience off their cappuccinos. Also on the show. Told she was out of her league on American Idol, right on the line. Jennifer Hudson steals the limelight from Beyonce in Dreamgirls. Film composer DARIO MARIANELLI shows us how he made the girls cry in Pride and Prejudice. And Judi Dench is the best friend from hell in Notes on a Scandal.
You've cost me my family.
Don't play the good mother with me.
But first, we go to South Africa for Catch a Fire, about the violent battle against apartheid. Is it 20 years too late, or is a film about a family man driven to militant action still relevant?
Whose car is this?
My car, boss.
Catch a Fire takes us back to apartheid South Africa in 1980.
Where do you get the money for this nice car and that nice camera?
I have a job. I'm a foreman, boss.
An era when minority white supremacists ruled with oppression. And the year real-life Patrick CHAMUSSO was accused of a crime he didn't commit.
Where were you that night?
Punished for nothing, CHAMUSSO joins the ANC's military wing in Mozambique.
Are you ready to die? Yes, Commander!
But when their hideouts wiped out, CHAMUSSO takes on a solo mission to outsmart Tim Robbins' anti-militant cop. Hollywood actor Derek Luke met Patrick CHAMUSSO, the man he portrays, on African soil.
Do you think you will make something?
Oh, big time.
Big time?
Big time.
But you talk like an American, man. We don't need an American here.
With Australian director PHILLIP NOYCE, the cast and crew worked closely with CHAMUSSO.
Action!
Filming on the real refinery site. NOYCE says they were determined to tell a story of apartheid from the rarely told African perspective.
Initially, you were reluctant because you were a white man doing this film. Is that fair to say?
Well, not only white, but also Australian. It was a huge journey for me to try and take that on. And every day was spent in trying to get underneath the skin of that country.
You gonna pick up sixpence?
I let them work through me. They were in charge of the details. I was in charge of the big story.
So pick him up, pick him up, pick him up.
The film's a strong condemnation of inhumanity.
I told you. I wasn't there, I was sick.
The doctor's note was forged, Patrick.
And some critics see it as a warning to those who use torture as a political tool, that using oppression will eventually put them at risk.
Even though it's set back in 1980 South Africa, it has a direct relevance to the world around us at this moment.
Get down!
NOYCE cut his teeth on Hollywood political thrillers, from Patriot Games to the Vietnam set, The Quiet American. But most recently, he's been drawn to independent films, stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Is there a film that you're most proud of that you've made in recent years? Or?
Well, I think Rabbit Proof Fence, because it set me in a new direction. But I read that story and was so moved by it.
The story of 3 Aboriginal girls stolen from their parents, who walk over 2,000 kilometres to get home.
We weren't taught anything about the culture of the original inhabitants. It wasn't until the civil rights movement finally made its way to Australia that I realised that this was not normal. But those kind of questions stayed with me.
Such questions of injustice are raised in Catch a Fire.
For a long time, I was detached from what happened in this country because I just didn't want to deal with it. This film forced me to pick at this wound, you know, and because I was protecting the pain for a long time.
Derek Luke also had an awakening, visiting the prison where CHAMUSSO spent 24 years with fellow inmate Nelson Mandela.
To be here and see all this thing on the first hand, I feel like this is not just a story. I feel like it's a part of you know, people's life and me getting a chance to be a part of it.
Catch a Fire's story of injustice is not meant to incite, but rather remind us not to forget the bravery of CHAMUSSO and all those who fight for freedom. From the politically thrilling to the explosive Beyonce in Dreamgirls, the musical's based loosely on the story of the Supremes, and some are calling it almost too much fun. During the 1960s, the Supremes, founded by teenage singer Florence Ballard, was the most successful African-American musical act of their time. But in 1967, Motown record boss Barry Gordy promoted his girlfriend. Diana Ross became lead Supreme, and Ballard was sacked.
1, 2, 3, hit me! $400 a week to sing behind Mr. Jimmy Early.
Dreamgirls is loosely based on that roller coaster ride from obscurity to mighty diva fame. Beyonce's character Dina is a thinly veiled Diana Ross.
It's not exactly Diana Ross. It's not based on her life, but she was absolutely my inspiration.
But some critics claim it's closer to life than anyone wants to admit.
Dina's gonna sing lead.
When Dina is promoted to lead singer over her more talented colleague, the group dynamic turns toxic.
Where do you think you're going?
You're a liar, Curtis.
Watch your mouth.
You sleeping with her and everyone knows.
In the real world, it's superstar Beyonce who's being overshadowed by her co-star Jennifer Hudson, who's now holding a Golden Globe and an Oscar nomination after beating 700 others to the part.
My director said recently that I was the only one that got chills from it. He's like, that's the only one that really moved me. And I was like, wow, I didn't know.
Hudson dedicated her Globe to the late Ballard, who unsuccessfully sued Motown and died from coronary thrombosis at just 33. Eddie Murphy, a thinly veiled James Brown in the movie, also won Best Supporting Actor at the Globes.
But you can fake your way to the top, round and around. Try that part right there, baby. Round and around. Fake your way to the top. Round and around. Yeah, you feel right.
Dreamgirls has launched Jennifer Hudson into the stratosphere. She and Eddie Murphy are both up for acting Oscars.
It's not wrong when you love someone.
And the film has 8 nominations overall.
Yeah.
As for Diana Ross, she said she'll be watching the film with her lawyers. Straight from the filmmakers' mouths, they told us what prophetic wisdom inspired them.
Best advice I've been given as an actor was from Kevin Spacey, who said, there is no deodorant for desperation.
You need a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience to absorb all the humanity which surrounds you.
The best advice I've probably gotten as a filmmaker is try to say action and cut as often as possible.
To believe, to insist that you can do it, and to insist.
It's in Arabic. I learned it from my dad. He said all the time, لا تكن لينا فتعصر ولا تكن صلبا فتكسر.
To make a movie only if it's really necessary to make it.
The worst advice I've been given as an actor probably came while I was at drama school, and it was from my singing tutor, who said, never ever try to sing again.
He took her to a movie.
She's the one I've waited for.
You're beautiful, miss. You don't know how beautiful you are.
We both get into terrible trouble.
Cate Blanchett and Judi Dench have both bagged Oscar nominations for their roles in the dark psychological thriller Notes on a Scandal.
I need to speak to you about Stephen Connolly.
Who?
Let's not, shall we?
Blanchett's teacher indulges in extracurricular activities with an underage student, which are discovered by a disturbed Judi Dench.
Her preference is for the younger man.
Where is she?
Surprisingly young.
You've cost me my family.
Don't play the good mother with me.
part 2, we delve into the dark side of the coffee industry with the documentary Black Gold, made by these two brothers. Now, we joked earlier, naughtily, that this might turn people off their cappuccinos, but that's not exactly what you want, is it?
No, if people stop drinking coffee tomorrow, there'll be even more of a crisis. 25 million coffee growers would be unemployed, so it's not what we want. But I think if people think again as to what's at the bottom of their coffee cup, then I think the film starts to do its job.
Brilliant. It's after the break.
He met her in the